Why haven't people in the U.S. alone not recovered economically from the crash of 2008 that was created largely with predatory banking and lending practices, technically still legal and in place 10 years later? Activists that occupy Wall Street and around the world in 2011 and 2012 were often chanting, "The banks got bailed out, we got sold out." Do you know what that means? After putting the final nail in the Glass Steagall Banking Act of 1933 and 1934, President Clinton also signed into law the Commodity Futures Modernization Act that allowed banks to once again engage in risky financial behavior on Wall Street, a behavior that led us to the Great Depression and stock market crash beginning in 1929, also allowed the banks to lead us into another crash in 2008.
Bill Clinton signed off on the Financial Service Modernization Act, the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, that made all these financial swindles legal.
Like derivatives?
All the collateralized debt obligations, credit default swaps, all of that was made legal in a bipartisan, Republican-led Senate working with the Democrat Bill Clinton, and the worst one he signed off when he was a lame duck president. So, and Hillary Clinton knows all that.
And you mean Glass Steagall is what you're referring to?
No, Glass Steagall's the Financial Service Modernization Act. That was 2 years before, but when he's a lame duck president after the 2000 election, he signs off on the Commodity Futures, which is actually worse because Title III of the Commodity Futures Modernization Act said that none of these new financial devices, which were all hokum if the mafia did it, they'd throw them in the slammer forever. And none of that will be regulated by any existing law or any regulatory agency. The fact that people don't know that, Title III of the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, signed by Bill Clinton, tells you where the mass media has been all these years. It's just unbelievable.
And then 8 years later, we can see the banks led us directly into the crisis.
Well, because they were empowered to write these, take different mortgages and package them together and put a new label on and swindle people. I mean, it's just incredible.
The unemployment statistics are only the tip of the iceberg right now. There's also underemployed, re-unemployed, low-wage workers in gig and temporary jobs with little or no benefits. 94% of 15 million jobs created from 2008 to 2016 are those kinds of jobs. This doesn't even include the numerous stories of people who have given up the job search. And there isn't really any serious talk, let alone action, about creating millions of decent paying jobs, even infrastructure jobs, to help this humongous portion of the U.S. population. If you have a good job, if you have a good retirement pension plan, own your own home, etc., this may not seem to be such a big deal. But all U.S. Americans should be deeply concerned and in the streets every day, doing something to express their concerns and worries for a system in deep decline that would allow circumstances like this to exist for half of its population or more. This is a global crisis, really. It's not just in the U.S.